Hi, my name is Guy Lawrence, and thanks for tuning into my podcast today. If you're enjoying these conversations and you want to check out more of this transformational work, be sure to come back to guylawrence.com.au and join me as we go further down the rabbit hole. Enjoy the show. Shane, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much, Guy. I do remember actually when I joined your forum, just thinking how great it would be to be one of these guys that have made a change and got on your podcast. Hey, actually, so
wow, I did not know that. That's amazing.
Yeah, well, funny how things pop up.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I really appreciate it, man, because every time I share somebody that has been doing the work passionately like yourself and coming through the different processes and things that we have, and when I bring them onto the podcast and share it back, like it's really helping inspire other people for sure. You know, a few weeks ago I had Fleur come on, and you know, yeah, of course you were at the same retreat, you know, and I had a lot of people reaching out afterwards, which was just beautiful, you know. So I appreciate that point. So it's great to come on and reconnect and have a discussion today. And I always like to start as well, just to normalize it, mate. What are you doing to pay the bills at the moment? What's your daytime job kind of thing?
I am a freelance graphic designer. So I've been doing that for probably about 7 years now. So that's had challenges in itself.
For sure. No, brilliant. Because I only say that because sometimes when it comes to this work, when I'm, you know, I've got a program called Let It In. I mean, our retreat is called Let Go and Live in Flow. And I think sometimes it can be interpreted that we attract people that just wander out the hills with long hair and wearing crystals and stuff. And, you know.
No. Well, it's funny you should say that because I've always had a bit of a complex about that whole hippie thing, which it's taken me a while to let go of. You know, I kind of feared being judged as a hippie. Like, you know, I'd have mates giving me stick for being a hippie, and I think it's actually something that I almost created for myself to protect myself from actually going too far down this path. It's like I was almost judging myself, and it's only sort of lately I've just been like, you know, this is me. Like, I know this stuff works. I don't care what anyone says. Like, I've proven it to myself that it works, and I'm just going to embrace it.
So listen, you've been on quite a journey. So take us back a bit, because I know you mentioned you've always been a bit of a searcher. What does that mean? What did that mean to you? Like, what did life look like growing up in your 20s and stuff with that in mind?
I guess in my 20s, a lot of that was partying, and just got into the workforce, I guess, in my early 20s. And I was just living it up. I was pretty happy, but it wasn't until probably my late 20s that I just had this feeling that there was something else. And I started just looking around, and I think, like a lot of us, The Secret came onto my radar, and I was like, oh wow, you know, what is this kind of thing? I mean, little did I know, is a little bit of a simplified version of the truth, because I sort of imagined driving around in a Lamborghini, but I still managed to blow 10 grand. So it doesn't quite work as simple as that. But just started looking into various books like the classics, Think and Grow Rich. Then it started to get perhaps a little bit out of control without me even realizing it. Like,
in what sense?
I was just consuming a lot of information, like reading a lot of books, just one to the next. Like, I wasn't really even I don't know, it's just, it was literally like an addiction. I was just consuming this information, but not necessarily internalizing it. Like, there's different levels to knowing one concept, as I've found, and you could know it reading it in a book, but it's not until you really internalize it and get it and grasp it that it actually has an effect in your life. So yeah, it just got a bit out of control, and it wasn't until later that I kind of realized it was.
What was pushing that hunger for that knowledge? Because quite often as well, we can be blinded by the knowledge, and it keeps preventing us from taking action. We are literally like, let's do one more book, let's just do one more reading, let's do one more this, and we can kind of be suspended in this. I feel for myself anyway that I was suspending myself in this false illusion where I was telling myself I was making progress, but it was the whole time it was allowing me not to take the steps I needed because I just kept consuming information. If that makes sense,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, and for me, I think it was I was just insecure in myself. I was looking for something, I didn't quite know what, but looking for something to make me feel whole, I guess. Um, Took me a long time to find that, but yeah, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me what happened then, because I know you've had some interesting dynamics happen in your life that kind of sparked action of a different direction. So, what were the tipping points for you then to turn all this content, all this information? What were the specific turning points then, if you like, to actually start to apply this into where the rubber meets the road kind of stuff?
Um, I think if I could go back just before that, one of the big impacts I had was my older brother. He was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer in my early 30s, and that just completely rocked my world, and along with the family. And I can't even imagine what he was going through. So
How old was your brother when he was diagnosed?
he's about 9 years older than me, so probably early 40s.
Oh wow.
So still young, and yeah, it was really tragic. But yeah, so I just got obsessed with health basically, and trying to find a solution for his diagnosis, and that's how I stumbled across your 180 podcast. And then I noticed you're bringing on guests like Joe Dispenza,
Yeah.
and the like, and I was just like, wow, this is next level. Like, yeah, these are concepts I've never heard of. Yeah, so yeah, sadly he passed away 4.5 years later, and I was at a huge low point in my life. It was, yeah, and the whole family was. It's you know, gosh, um, and yeah, I just before that I'd heard of ayahuasca, which I know you've had experience with as well, and I shot over to Peru almost 2 weeks after his passing, and
Oh
hoping
wow. Right.
hoping I'd find the just the solution to just that silver bullet, that thing that I was missing, or it's an answer to all this. And yeah, so I got over there, and you know, straight into the first ceremony, and that was. I kind of went in there guns blazing, like, come on, ayahuasca, show me some visions, give me some insights, I'm ready. And it was, I almost get a little bit emotional just talking about that. It was really humbling experience to just have my ass completely kicked like that. Like, you know, just completely have my consciousness overridden, had no control, loss of identity, didn't know who I was, where I was, and it was just kept screaming at me, because it kind of talks to you, just screaming at me like, respect me, respect me. And even like after the ceremony had finished,
Respect the ayahuasca. Do you have a
Yeah,
screen?
it's
Yeah.
like the
Okay. Yeah.
I think it's Papatua they call the head medicine spirit of ayahuasca. But even after the ceremony was formally over, I was still just in such turmoil, and it was just laughing at me, saying, "I've still got you," and just laughing. And I was broken, man. After that, I tell you, I was just in tears, and the ego completely obliterated. But then later on, it was in later ceremonies, just met with such profound love and just comfort from whatever you're interfacing with, like God, the universe, Mother Nature. And yeah, you just have this overwhelming desire to sort of help your fellow people out, and you know but I don't think I was quite ready to receive all those messages as later on, when I after about 6 months, I from coming home, like I was still riding high on life, but then I started consuming this information, a lot of self-help info again, and I thought, like, maybe if I start a business, then I'll be happy. People will like me. It's like I had all my self-worth was attached to everything outside of me. If I have a successful business, a nice car, if I'm doing all this stuff, then I'll be somebody.
It's so easy to fall into that trap, isn't it?
It is.
Without realizing it, I think.
Ah,
And then once we start to prop ourselves up from that place, then we don't realize how actually fragile and we really are, and vulnerable to all that. If that was taken away all of a sudden, how much it actually can just make us feel destroyed within ourselves.
100%. And I feel it's a really common problem. Like I see it in a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge. So when you obviously, because you mentioned just before you went to do the ceremony, you were hoping for the silver bullet, so you came back and you kind of felt like you'd obviously moved through some stuff from the plant medicine, but then you felt yourself slipping back, if I'm not mistaken, back to that familiar feeling before.
Yeah, well, I think ayahuasca, it gives you what you need, not necessarily what you want. And I think for me, it was, processing my brother's passing. I still remember in the ceremony sort of asking, like, what should I do with my career and stuff? And it would just tell me, just be patient. And that's just every time I asked, that's what I would get back quite clearly. And so, yeah, I couldn't really take much more from that. But yeah, like I said, I wasn't ready for all of the messages. And ayahuasca is certainly not, it does get portrayed in YouTube as like the silver bullet, but it is a great intervention for sure. And it is the most profound experience of my life for sure. Like, it's indescribable for sure.
Yeah, but we can dump all our expectations on it, how we think it should be, and go and suit our egoic self, our needs almost. And
yes.
we can have a rude shock sometimes.
100%.
Yeah. So by the time you got to, because I remember you reached out and you joined Let It In first, if I'm not mistaken, my program. And by that time, if I recall, you were already a seasoned meditator. So you've been doing a lot of meditation. You've been doing the work.
Yeah. I was just doing TM.
Okay.
Digital meditation. And
so why did you decide to join if you were already kind of...
I'd sort of become aware of Joe Dispenza's work, and I was reading his books, and I was just struggling with like launching this business. It just wasn't me in digital marketing. Like I had my first client, but it just felt like I was redlining in first gear. It's just, and it wasn't until I was just like, I can quote you, mate, but fuck it, I'm all in. And wasn't until I let go of just that striving for what I thought was right for me, that all these opportunities started to open up to me. And one of them was your forum, um, and and at first I was like, well, I'm doing Joe Dispenza's work, like you know, do I need it? Like I've
Mm-hmm.
and but I don't know, something just told me to just go with it, and I'm so glad that I did, because the way you taught it, I had skipped over stuff. Like for me, with even with Joe Dispenza's work, I was still doing the meditations, but then skipping ahead to just visualizing a successful career, you know, dream partner, all that, but just missing everything in between,
Yeah,
I think, which
it's very, and I made this mistake many times as well. It's very easy to, because we understand, we might look at these, I look at the laws of even quantum physics and the quantum field, and you could say the law of attraction that The Secret have promoted, and all these different elements. And if we start to visualize our future now and start to bring that in, it's going to, we're going to attract what we want into our life, and there's this kind of rosy element to it.
mm,
But if we don't actually address the very resistant points that are within us, that are constantly there, that are within the unconscious, and if we don't start to put the mirror on ourselves first, we can almost use all the visualizations, and this, for me, is complete escapism
yeah,
from the very things that we need to address in our own lives, for the lessons that we need to learn from our life to make us grow as an individual. And from that growth is where the wisdom comes. And then from that wisdom, we can apply it. And then we start to attract the things in our life. But we skip
mhm,
that bit because it's the hardest bit.
it is,
It,
yes,
it's the bit that we want to, we tell ourselves all sorts of things. But if we're not willing to step into the fire a little, if we're not willing to have our own initiation in life, I think then we're always going to be treading water. And until we're willing to step back and actually really start to reflect on those things, and have a deeper understanding of why that is, how it works, how the body works. And once we can apply all them things, I think we can make big headway in a short space of time. It's just literally
yeah,
trying to get the information across in the right way, but practice it as well, right?
yes.
Mm.
Like huge headway in a pretty short amount of time, yeah, but not until you address those things, for sure. It wasn't until I sort of came back a few steps, and like for me, yeah, like in joining your forum, you started talking about the heart, and I was always like, I'll get to the heart a bit later. Let me just like get my mind straight. And even with gratitude, I was like, God, it's so easy to take gratitude for granted, as you just hear about it all the time. Like everyone's like, you got to practice gratitude. But I was like, okay, let me just make some headway, and then I'll try and just fit in a bit of gratitude, when I can. It just wasn't a priority. So it wasn't until some of your meditations, the heart-based meditations, like, man, they were cracking me. Like something was I would get very emotional with them, especially when I got to the heart. And yeah, I just went into your program with a complete beginner's mindset, because I was still like, I had all these Joe Dispenza meditations, and it was,
Well, you're a self-help junkie. You're self-confessed self. Like
yeah,
I'm sure you know more than me when it comes to this stuff in some respects, right?
oh, yeah, but yeah, it was, yeah, just yeah, it was hard for me to let go of that and just be like, right, okay, I'm just gonna start with the basics, start with the short meditations, rather than just jump straight ahead to your advanced stuff. I was like, right, nah, I'm just going to like take it easy here. And I'm so glad that I did, because it was about probably only about a week into doing your program. I'll always remember this. It's one of the most profound experiences of my life. I wasn't even meditating, but it was shortly after meditation. I just went to have a nana nap. I was just feeling a bit tired. And just as I was dozing off, I had this bizarre experience like I've never experienced before, almost like an outer body perspective. Something took over, and I could just see how clearly, how cruel I was being to myself. And it's like my body, my being was just crying out to be like, well, I actually get a little bit emotional recalling it, hey, but it's just crying out to be loved and cared for by myself. And I realized like I didn't even love myself. I didn't even like myself. And that was the reason why I was just searching and seeking. I was just looking for this this gap in my heart that only I could fill. And I just burst into tears. But then it was just met by this profound bliss like I've never experienced, because I knew that that is what I've been searching for like the last 10 years. Was that love and respect for myself. And I was just riding high. Like I couldn't even sleep for 3 days. I was so happy. I didn't even do anything. I was just walking around blissing out with this huge grin on my face. And I knew that is where the point of my focus had to be. So I really just took that on board and worked on just loving
How amazing is that? I remember you posting a video into the forum actually afterwards, recalling that moment. But you know, right there is the true present moment. It's you being able to be the true witness of yourself, and from a third person perspective, almost like you're outside looking in, and then you can see the truth of it all. And the most amazing thing about this work is when you grasp it, is that you found that for yourself. Nobody told you. Nobody, you know what I mean? The own inward journey allowed you to really reveal that. And that's when we really get the lessons, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what happened from that point? Because I know you literally made a decision last minute to join us at the retreat, didn't you?
Yeah, well, it's basically, I came to the conclusion that what I was doing just wasn't working. I'd taken a lot of time off my regular work to try and start this business. So things were a little bit tight. Like, and I'm coming over from New Zealand to get flights and accommodation and the retreat. And but there was something in me that just said that I needed to go. And well, especially, I mean, yes, I saw a podcast with you and Petra as well, and I was just like, wow, who is this Petra? She is amazing. Like there was something that was resonating with me there too, and I just really wanted to get involved and meet both of you. And I was just like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna go for it, and I'm sure it'll work out somehow. You know, I'll find the money or whatever. And so yeah, jumped on the plane and went over, and here I am at the retreat. And I was a little bit starstruck, to be honest, when I saw you guys. Like, for one, you were like way taller than I expected. I'm like 6 foot, and you're like towered over me. I was like, wow. But yeah, you just had like such a beautiful energy to you. And then seeing Petra, I was just like, wow, there's Petra. But I was too shy to even say hello. Like I had this whole almost this perfectionism streak that I've always been cursed with without really realizing it, just like hyper analyzing myself. And especially around all these new faces. I was like, oh, what are they thinking of me? If I go and talk to them, are they going to like me? Am I going to say the right thing? Am I going to say the wrong thing? And I was paralyzed. I don't know, you may or may not have noticed I was quite standoffish, and it wasn't my intention at all, but because I was in my element, I just wanted to connect with all these amazing people. But
Yeah. Did you have any idea what you were getting in for when you came to the retreat?
no. I mean, I thought after doing ayahuasca, I was like, I've seen it all. Nothing's gonna surprise me. But I was completely wrong. I was so wrong. It was tough. It was confronting, and the first couple of days it was not easy. I felt quite stuck, and even felt like I remember thinking, "Oh my God, I'm going to have to come back for the next retreat." It's just something's just not. I'm just stuck. But yeah, by the last day, everything just zoom, connected, and Matt Omo's work, like wow, that just caught me completely off guard, and that I think blew out a few cobwebs.
And just
the whole
to,
thing.
yeah, no, like, and just for the listeners as well that are listening, just intrigued by it all, because what happens, what we witness is that we all, any areas that we want to improve upon in our life, there's resistance there, and resistance is what stops the flow of life, I believe, and it's like overcoming those resistance points to whatever area it is that allows that flow to come through. Hence why we let go and live in flow. But at the same time, the body is being conditioned in such a way of, there's a familiarity with itself that those resistance points, it starts to cling on for dear life. So when you say it started getting tougher and tougher, and there's a point where you just think, shit, am I ever going to is this ever going to lead? Am I ever going to have a breakthrough? There's always like the darkest night before the new dawn. There's always that feeling within us. There's just this, and there's like this push. There's this resistance, and then it breaks, and then we come out the other end, and it's like almost grabbing air. We're like, oh my God. And then you feel the shifts within you, internally, externally, energetically. There's a part of you that's changed. And that's why we structure the retreats the way we do, and we see it every single time, with everyone.
Yeah, no, it was an incredible experience. I'd highly recommend it to anyone. And just connecting with, I just met some beautiful people on this path just this year, like through the retreat, and through yourself, and through the forum, and through Petra, and because it can be a lonely journey, back home. Like, it's not like everyone's talking like this. They're not having those deep conversations. What you've created, and just getting in amongst like-minded people, getting involved, is just a game changer. It's just so much more powerful to do it with other people, and to do it in a group. Like, I couldn't overstate that enough. Like, I was, you probably could get there alone, but it's going to take you a lot longer. That's been the difference.
That's awesome. What was, looking back at the retreat now, what would you say was the most memorable part of it for you, if you look back and reflect? Do you think anything that stands out?
A standout would be Matt Omo, for sure. I didn't really know anything about him coming into it. Then I literally thought it would just be meditating to some nice music, and that'd be nice, kind of thing. But it just completely blew me away. Like, it was almost like a mini ayahuasca ceremony. It was crazy, full on, and I didn't know what the hell was going on, what was going to happen. But yeah, that just blew me away. And and just connecting, the relationships and the we made with everyone at the end. Once I'd kind of defrosted a little bit, and I was just feeling at home, and just meeting those just beautiful people, which has made my journey a whole lot easier and a whole lot more enjoyable.
Yeah, we don't realize how important it is until we have it in our lives. And then if it's been missing for a long time, we kind of just accept it to be like that. But once you start making these connections with different people, and they become lifelong friends, and they'll be always there. I have no doubt you could reach out to so many of them right now if you were ever in need, and they'd be there for you, at the drop of the hat kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I know I could, and
Yeah,
I'd be the same with them as well. Like,
exactly.
it's just beautiful to see everyone just willing to be vulnerable, like willing to, like, to show their stuff, show their story. This is me. I've got got my issues, and I'm here to make my life better. I'm here to do something about it. I don't want to. I mean, it'd be so easy just to, I don't know, go out drinking or watch
Of
TV or
course.
sedate
Yeah.
yourself like so many people. But yeah, that vulnerability that people showed was just truly special.
Yeah, amazing. So what do you think this year has taught you, from going, fuck it, I'm all in, you let go, then you joined the Let It In program, then you came to the retreat, and now it's been, maybe 4 or 5 months after, and reflection and looking back at it all, like what do you think is taught you?
Um, I think that, like, we are way better than we actually think we are. It's so easy to, I think, just overanalyze in your head base and look at your results around you. But I don't know, I found once I actually engaged my heart, I felt like it's just been brought online somehow. I just feel so much stronger in myself. Like, I have so much more belief in myself, which is what you need if you want to go out into the world and make the most of your life, or make a positive change in your life. Like, if you're going out there, like I was, not liking myself, with a low self-esteem, I just felt like a fraud the whole time, and that's why it was just so hard. But now, yeah, just bringing my heart online, and loving myself, having a healthy respect for myself, it's so powerful and makes life so much easier. I feel like, I could probably do anything, if I kind of, use that will that I've been using the whole time. That, like that 5% conscious that you talk about. I was like using that to assert my will on the outside world, rather than bringing it back and using it to train that 95% subconscious. And yeah, once you start to work and get that working for you, like, it's just this dormant superpower that we've all got. And once you connect with it, and kind of let go and trust it, and it's hard. It is hard to let go in the beginning, because it feels like you're gonna fall down. But yeah, just all these little opportunities start arising, little insights just come out of the blue, and yeah, just lean into them, as you always said. Just
Yeah.
lean into what those things are, and before you know it, you'll be living a good life,
Yeah,
more in line with your heart.
totally. So important. Mate, last question before we wrap it up.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone? So, if someone's still listening to this right now, they're obviously intrigued with the whole thing. That's what normally happens. What would you say to someone that'll be sitting on the fence, that's debating about even just doing my 4-week program, or coming into the retreat, just coming straight in? What would you say to them if they're on the fence, not sure?
um I would just go all in. like like for me, like life is short, and I can't understate how important this work is. Like, it's so powerful. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit lost for words. Like, I would say, you just got to do it. As you'll take a journey that you probably you probably didn't even plan on taking, but it'll be like for the better good, for the greater good. You'll just be in a much better place before you know it. And change happens pretty quick, and it is faster to do it in a group with like-minded people rather than just reading books, going it alone. I can say that I've proven it to myself for sure, so I know that for sure.
Yeah, totally. No, thank you, Shane. I appreciate it. And I'll just wrap it up, and just want to say, witnessing what the changes in you this year as I've gotten to know you has been awesome, and I'm grateful that I've been able to be a part of it and support you where needed with this work. And it certainly, for me, with my own actions, having to go fuck it, I'm all in a few years back and selling out, like it's just to fully have to surrender to myself and to this work, and to allow it literally to let it in as well. So to see it having that ripple effect, like, fills me up no end. So I'm just so grateful that I've been able to help you in some way as well, along with this.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for having the courage to to let go and to live your truth, and it's helping so many others. And maybe I can do the same and
I
just
don't doubt it, mate.
spread
I
it.
don't doubt it.
So
Yeah.
yeah, no, so grateful.
Thanks, Shane. Really appreciate it, mate.
All right, mate.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.